idea this was happening, and this wasn't the focus of today's video, but it's so unusual and interesting, we should check it out. It's the last day of summer, and I'm here up on the Highline. It's a beautiful day. The Highline is exceptionally crowded, and we've got this climate science fair. It is too bad that Charles isn't here with me, because it would absolutely be pretty funny. We'll look at this, and then I'll get to the focus of what today's show is about. I tell you, this is something that could be a whole entire show of its own. That's an old-looking refrigerator. I don't really know what we're looking at here. Coffee, renewable energy disaster kit. I don't know, what do people think of this? I haven't seen anything like this before. AI robots, recycle better with AI robots that look like elephants. All right. This is interesting. How did pedagogy influence this building's design? What does pedagogy even mean?
Influence the building's design? Well, without getting too technical, we're marrying the instruction of how young people should be learning with design. So we have a project-based learning model, and what you see here is an architectural design that allows for reflection, collaboration, making.
Is pedagogy your company, or is that?
No, pedagogy just means methodology.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
We're with XQ.
Barbados?
We're partnering with Barbados, but our project, I am from XQ Institute, and we are about transforming high schools.
Cool. Well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't hear a thing that woman was saying. I knew what pedagogy means from our buddy Matt Tate. I wanted to see if she did. I like this. This is like Mr. What's that guy's name? Mr. Wizard. Oh yeah, got a space helmet. What do we got going on here?
I'm with the butterfly.
What?
I'm with the monarch section over here.
Butter something. All right, I don't know. These people got to speak up. He's here presenting and he's shy. I think this is a big waste of time, to tell you the truth. Somebody, I'm sure Charles would have a lot to say about this. Non-profit money going to I don't know what. Vegan stuff. Anyway, I don't really care about this. I'm sure it's a cash grab for stuff that if you actually dug into it, probably doesn't work the way they want it to. The reason I came out today is that I wanted to tell everybody about a new sponsor-exclusive show that I'm going to be launching tonight. I think people are going to love it. If you're already a sponsor on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, that's my favorite way for people to sponsor. It's the most economical for you guys and for me. For as little as $3 a month plus a 58-cent Odyssey fee, you can support the show, keep independent journalism going. You can support Odyssey, which is an independent technology platform, not big tech. And you can access all these great sponsor-exclusive shows where I don't have to worry about YouTube shutting me down. I don't have to worry about satisfying corporate sponsors. You are the sponsor, whether you choose odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or subscribestar.com, or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. You're going to be able to enjoy the new show premiering right after this. And I'm saying tonight because I'm pre-recording this right now. I have a few things to do in between now and then. And I don't want maniacs following me around today. I wanted to enjoy the last day of summer. I do love autumn in New York. It might be my favorite time of year. But if you are a sponsor, or if you become a sponsor, you're going to be able to join me for what is sure to be incredible, the new show, Who Wants to Get Motherfucking Sued? And our first contestant is already up. Now, people might notice we have the rather prominent billionaire douche, Palmer Luckey, right there. Oh, no, sorry, there. That's him. He's a last-minute addition to this. He's not the first contestant on Who Wants to Get Motherfucking Sued, but he obviously does. So he might be the second contestant. We'll talk about him a little bit right now. But before we get into that, and forgive me if anyone is offended by the language or the title of that show, but I sometimes like to use strong language like that for emphasis. And comedy, I find it funny. Maybe you don't, I apologize. But the point is, I've been talking about this a lot, and here we go. This happened. Goodman versus the Butler County District Attorney's Office is on the docket. Now, this is pretty interesting. I don't know if people saw this, but look at the case number. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. I'm sure that does not mean, hey, 86 this thing and make sure this jerk loses. Whoa. Hey, see, everybody is excited about it being the last day of summer. Look at what's going on over here. I've never seen this before. Holy cow. We have like a carnival in the middle of the street. We got to go check that out.
Ryan.
Isn't this great? You don't even have to come to New York to see all this wild hydroblast. What is going on down there? Well, we'll go down there and check it out, but let me keep talking about the new show and who obviously wants to get sued. That lady, when she breaks somebody's ankle with her little kid, she probably wants to get sued. I can't even get into it with them right now. I almost got hit by a car or a bicycle like 3 times coming over here, and it's very close to my apartment. I love those things. That and the giant inflatable gorilla selling tires. I don't know why. I just like stuff like that. It's funny. Yeah, so suing the Beaver County District Attorney. Now, I told them I was gonna do that if they didn't give me the information that I wanted. And I keep telling the cops I'm gonna sue them, and they don't believe me. So, now they're getting motherfucking sued.
You never know.
And what I'm gonna do on the show tonight is I'm gonna take everybody through the complaint as it's been filed. We're gonna look at it, the evidence that I've compiled. Look at their address. It's really great. You know, this is just the way it is. But everybody can see that this is, I'm not joking, this is not some frivolous nonsense. This is not George's mentally ill, wife-swapping, paperclip Nazi brother. He's got an approach that I don't really appreciate. He's just constantly suing me for nonsense. Protected everybody from that extremely loud, undoubtedly over-modulating sneeze. But I was gonna go do a whole walk through the Highline, but I'll tell you, it's crazy packed with people speaking foreign languages who don't know how to walk down the street in New York City and are clogging that thing up. So we'll check out the street carnival here while I talk to everybody a bit more about what's going on. The first contestant is the Beaver County District Attorney's Office. In this lawsuit, this is a right-to-know appeal, which is technically a lawsuit. It's overseen by Pennsylvania State Court and a judge who's not part of the cops, but then again, of course, part of the government. And so if Pennsylvania works like New York, what a nice dog. If Pennsylvania works like New York, then I'm gonna lose because the court will be corrupt and they're gonna know the cops, maybe have FBI former general counsels and attorneys and agents as the judges. I hope that's not the case. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Because even if I do not prevail and we do not get the original HEIC full resolution photographs from Detective Gian Vito's telephone, his iPhone, looks like a 12 to me. Even if we don't get that, that will be very telling, and that will become evidence, whatever they say, in future legal actions. Because I've said it many times, I don't have anything else to do but this. And all of these people that I'm constantly talking about have destroyed New York City, essentially. They've destroyed the United States, essentially. This is lovely, I have to say. I enjoy this. Got a brass band over there. Nobody's playing the games, though. Carnival games. We have a beer garden lady here. Standard Hotel. I guess maybe the Standard Hotel is doing this. This is another thing I like. Any costume that makes it look like you're riding something while you play a tuba with bubbles going everywhere. You can't beat that. Is so much fun. You gotta love the woodwinds, right? Is that woodwind, brass instruments? What a wonderful thing right there. I didn't mean to hit that guy, but it was dramatic. And the closest we can get to 3D on the internet right now. That would be a wonderful scene to shoot in 3D. Get the actual Steady Dave 3D VX. No, actually, that's outdated. We use a, what was it, BX 4.5. Or did we ever do a BX 5? I don't remember. Point is, the cops in Beaver County are getting sued. And they're going to tell me what I want to know, whether they like it or not. They're going to tell us what we want to know. Because you see, I've gotten sick of Congress. I'm sick of it. They are dicks. Kind of without exception. Even the ones that I thought I liked. Mike Johnson, Corey Mills, these people are doing nothing. I wonder what she thought of the assassination. And they're just rude, you know? I'm trying to help them, and they're acting like I'm doing some kind of favor. Dude, you gotta get that bicycle off the sidewalk. Please don't ride the bicycle on the sidewalk.
I'm not.
You are. What the fuck are you talking about? Take it off the sidewalk.
I will.
Just take it off the sidewalk, man!
Going, man.
Don't fucking talk back to me, stupid! I'm not. Are you retarded? You see, I start out polite. And that fucking asshole is still on the sidewalk. I really wish we were living inside Grand Theft Auto 5, because I would just get the rocket launcher and start doling out justice. What is wrong with that guy? I'm not. Can I please ask you to not ride that bicycle on the sidewalk? It's dangerous, it's illegal, it's discourteous. Thank you. Just take it off the sidewalk, please. Thank you. Unbelievable. I'm not. How do we have so many stupid people alive today? What do you mean you're not?
It's a golf company.
You're sitting on a bicycle. It's rolling down the sidewalk. What the hell do you think you're doing? Holy cow. It smells absolutely like dung right here. What a crazy day it is. I guess they want you to feel like you're in India. It absolutely smells like the zoo, doesn't it? That's very authentic. So tonight's show, I'm going to go over the details of this complaint. And people are going to be able to look at the evidence, and I don't know, maybe you'll be able to form some idea as to whether or not I'm likely to prevail. Boy, these dogs look like they must be hot right now.
We just got out of the car.
To be that fluffy and walking around on a day like today, I don't know how the dogs do it. We'll look at the complaint, we'll look at the Pennsylvania Right to Know Act. Now, there's some sort of arbitration thing. They asked right away for a 30-day extension. I don't know what to make of that. Now remember, it's important for people to recall, I'm not an attorney. So the possibility that something about this could be filed incorrectly, or that I might make a mistake or screw it up somehow, I put it at 51% likely. I hope it didn't happen, and I tried not to, but I'm not a lawyer, so these things are complicated. Oh, we have an elephant information center. So if you need any elephant information, I think that's the go-to spot. That's nice for kids, have a little elephant set up here and let people enjoy that. I don't know why they need all this dirt that smells like manure. I guess somebody probably had a lot of manure they needed to sell. Oh yeah, wet it. That's making it much better. Oh God. Wow. I don't know, maybe will this stay here? Why would you plant this at the end of the summer? Doesn't make a lot of sense. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, we'll get into the details of the Right to Know appeal and the lawsuit against the Beaver County District Attorney's Office. Yeah, they got this 30-day extension because, I don't know, I thought maybe that's positive because they could have just said, oh no, you did this wrong, or you missed the deadline, or you did it wrong and now the deadline has passed, so there's nothing you can do. Share space, the human race. But that didn't happen, so it's good. And also, I think if they were like, hey, we don't care about this, just answer it and tell them to piss off, they might not need 30 days to do that. I don't know. This is just my feeling. I could be wrong, but it made me think that they're looking at this and saying, oh, we better figure out what's going on with this. We need 30 days to research all this stuff. Almost got crashed into again. What'd you think of the assassination attempt? So we'll see what happens with that tonight. People can watch that on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, subscribestar.com, or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Thanks to everyone who's been sponsoring the show. And I mean that. I know I say it all the time, maybe it loses the impact, but I really hope that people who are sponsoring the show and have kept me going with Crowdsource the Truth appreciate what they've done. Because there are evil people who have tried to destroy this effort. And obviously without money, I can't keep going. I need food, and filing all this stuff costs money. Plus, if I had to have a job to earn money, I wouldn't be able to spend all this time researching stuff and, you know, filing these things and calling people up and making the show and letting everybody know about it. So I couldn't do this without all of you. Even if you're only sponsoring for $3 a month, you're part of this. This is the Crowdsource effort, and you're part of the crowd. And maybe some people don't know what to do or don't have time to do it or whatever it is. If you're a sponsor, you're participating. And if we get a result that changes something, this could be historic. And something shifted today. Yeah, the autumnal equinox. I think maybe you could balance an egg or something. Isn't there some sort of deal with that? I don't know, maybe I got that wrong. But you see, last night, or I guess this morning, do people remember we've been talking about this guy, Palmer Luckey? And he might not have been that lucky last night. He was looking at a tweet that I put up, an X post, where I'm asking like, hey, how did this company Anduril go from being virtually unknown to most people months ago to now being all over everything? They have this article that says that Microsoft is getting into bed with Palmer Luckey. I hope not in a P. Diddy kind of way, but they're going to use his, augmented reality and virtual reality technology with this Anduril operating system, the Lattice, the Anduril Lattice OS, which is like a battlefield operating system that you can integrate all these different electronic components into, like flying drones and radio towers and these headsets. Oh wait, I guess there's more to that video. Sorry, let's watch it again because this is important. But the point is, when I say most people, I mean, do you watching right now, had you heard of Anduril before we started talking about it? I hadn't. I mean, maybe people in the defense industry know about it. Maybe people like J.D. Vance, who at the All In Summit said he was a seed investor, maybe he knows about it. Maybe, I don't know, I think people know about it, but I bet you Rafael Eduardo Castro, he seems to know about it, don't want to talk about it. He didn't say, Anduril, what? He told me it was an official thing. So, Mr. Luckey, I'm saying it seems to have had its fingers in the assassination attempt, and he says it didn't. You're just a retard who makes up nonsense. That's a pretty definitive statement from Mr. Luckey. Now, the thing that's interesting about that is, I am a journalist, I sometimes say, oh, I'm not a journalist. When I'm saying that, I'm challenging people because it goes back to when I was in Hollywood. I've spoken about that a lot. We were just talking about it before, 3D cameras and Steady Dave and all that. When I arrived in Hollywood with my 3D camera that I had designed, there were a lot of jackasses who would say, oh, you're not a cinematographer. Okay. But that was wrong. I mean, they might have said, we don't like you as a cinematographer. I don't care for your aesthetic. I think your skills are weak. You're a bad cinematographer. These are all subjective statements, and people are free to think that. Wally Pfister, who is a terrible director and kind of a jerk, he told me he hates 3D. I asked him that at a meeting at the American Society of Cinematographers, their clubhouse there. It was just very condescending and rude how he said that. And he was also in the middle of talking about how he loves film and he doesn't want to shoot anything on digital, but all of the incredible scenes with the slow motion in the van in, what's that movie where Leonardo DiCaprio can go into the dreams? I forget the name. People know what I'm talking about. The van, it's raining in the van and they roll downhill and it's an incredible slow motion scene. And of course, it was shot digitally. The mighty Raptor R. I love it. There you go. You can tell that it's a Raptor R because the 2.65 liter supercharger is so big, they have to put that bulge on the hood. Now, this guy did not go graphics delete. I gotta say, if you're gonna drive a car like that, you can't be subtle. But anyway, people would tell me, oh, you're not a cinematographer. And when I started this, they say, oh, you're not a journalist. It's like, well, what the hell are you talking about? Of course I am. Photography, cinematography, journalism, these are things where just the very act of doing it makes you that. In other words, if you take a photograph, you're the photographer of the photograph. Even if you aren't paid, even if you're not a professional photographer, you know, you go to somebody's house, you might see an incredible photograph of a sunset hanging in the living room. You say, oh wow, I love that picture. Who's the photographer? Person might say, my grandmother, she's 90, took it with an iPhone. Wow. Are you gonna say she's not a photographer? She took the picture. And likewise, if you record and report on public events, that's journalism. You're a journalist. Citizen journalist, independent journalist, whatever you want to call it. People like to qualify and classify these things, but the fact is, I am a journalist, and I would even say, as we approach October, getting close to 8 years, I'm starting to become quite an experienced journalist. And I've done some things, remember, that made national news, exposing Alan Dershowitz and his idiotic opinion that the government could force you to be vaccinated. By the way, that was proven to be wrong. Ninth Circuit of California said, no, this is not even a vaccine, which is exactly the argument that I made to Dersh. Now, am I a lawyer? No. And unlike journalism, unlike photography, unlike cinematography, just acting like a lawyer does not make you a lawyer. I am not qualified to give anyone legal advice. You need a license to be a lawyer. You need a bar license. You need to be admitted to the bar. And it is against the law to practice as a lawyer if you aren't one. So that's why I constantly say I'm not a lawyer. I'm proceeding in court pro se. I'm representing myself. You're allowed to do that, but I can't represent anyone else as a lawyer, and I cannot give legal advice. So nothing I ever say on this program is legal advice. I'm just telling people about stuff that I'm doing, things that I've observed in the public domain. It's interesting that that's out of business. This is where a lot of deliveries were being made after 5 p.m. as I was being choked over here out in front of Twitter. That was a whole other story that we could talk about another time. But that's the first set of cops to get sued. NYPD, Lieutenant Ibrahim, Chandler, the Smoothie King Castro, incredibly stupid and drunk-looking Jennifer Caruso, and that guy, what's his name? Garcia, what's his first name? I don't remember his first name. But anyway, NYPD got sued, Beaver County DA is getting sued. But let's talk about Palmer Luckey. He puts up that tweet saying that I am making up nonsense. Now, that, in my opinion, as far as I can tell, and I could be wrong because I'm not a lawyer, I think that's defamatory per se, because he's disparaging me in my profession. You see, I'm no longer a professional cinematographer. I don't get paid to go shoot movies like Spider-Man and X-Men, not anymore. I used to. Now I get paid for doing this journalism that everybody is watching here, reporting on things, information that I get from the police, like unredacted documents that reveal the names of the officers and the federal agents who were present in Butler County, PA, on July 13th when shots were fired at Donald Trump. And Palmer Luckey saying I'm making that up. It's a very definitive public statement from a billionaire CEO of a company that I have a lot of reason to believe did operate equipment there that day. People are going to recall last night on the show with John Cohen, we were talking about this whistleblower report from Josh Hawley. And I guess the whistleblower is from the Secret Service. I don't think I trust a Secret Service whistleblower, particularly now that I have been releasing this information that I think they did not want, obviously, they didn't want it released. People are like, well, maybe there's a whistleblower at the police who did it by accident. I don't think so. I've seen other evidence that I'm not ready to talk about that makes me think that's wrong. And so it would stand to reason that whoever didn't want us to know about that and realizes that we now know, might want to put some bad info down the pipe to confuse stuff. Because you see, Josh Hawley, he's not listening to me. I found what I believe is his phone number. I don't know if he still has the phone in his hand or if he looks at it, but I've been texting him this information. Maybe he doesn't accept information from phone numbers he doesn't know, but he hasn't said anything about it. They haven't had somebody from their office call me and say, hey, I haven't seen him sit down in the Senate and say, hey, an anonymous tipster sent me this unredacted thing. He didn't say that. So I don't know, he's ignoring it. Corey Mills has been sent this stuff. Eli Crane has been sent this stuff. And you know, these guys want to go to committees and talk about stuff, and I don't know. I don't see those committees doing anything. Seems to me in 2.5 months, Crowdsource the Truth and the co-hosts who participate have developed much more evidence and far more information than anything Congress or the FBI or the Secret Service have done. Doesn't make me law enforcement. I think it makes me an investigator, though. Is that Elon Musk? Got to make ends meet driving a taxi. Tesla taxi. So yeah, so he puts up that tweet where he's disparaging me. That was so stupid, Palmer Luckey, because you are the next contestant on Who Wants to Get Motherfucking Sued. And guess what? The answer is you, whether you know it or not. And this, look, I could be wrong. I don't think so, though. He's made a definitive statement with reckless disregard for the truth, or that he knows to be untrue. And in fact, I think it's the latter, because he strikes me as quite nervous. Why would he interact with me at all? Why would he acknowledge that tweet? There somewhere right now, I expect, is a lawyer for Anduril remarking at how stupid that 32-year-old genius is. Because now, we're going to find out for sure if Anduril technology was used there or not. I certainly didn't make it up. And I believe it's true. I can't yet prove it. But boy, it certainly is my lucky day, because Palmer just gave me a way to prove it. A lawsuit against him and Anduril on the basis that he's just defamed me. He's got a far greater platform than I do, much bigger reach on X, and he has told everyone, in order to disparage me in my profession, that I am a retard who makes up nonsense. That's false. I'm not going to yell at that stupid lady for riding a wheeled device on the sidewalk. That's false. As far as I know, I've never been diagnosed with any kind of mental retardation. A lot of people seem to think my thought process is rather quick. I'm astute at finding certain facts and details. Thought of a lot of stuff that other people have never thought of. You know, it's interesting also about Palmer Luckey. I have to think he must be aware of 21st century 3D, because Palmer Luckey created this Oculus Rift, which is a virtual reality headset. And I was reading a little bit about that. He was a moderator on the Meant to Be Seen forum, which, as I recall, I think the guy who ran it was named Neil. And it was all about stereoscopic video games and how to play video games in 3D. And that guy used to come to some of the 3D conferences that I've spoken about with John Merritt and all that. Because remember, back in 2000, you know, prior to Avatar, there just wasn't, this was such a niche, little nerdy thing that you couldn't find too much information about it. And so, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but Palmer Luckey, the other thing is, you know, when I made that 3D camera that I've shown people before, the 3D VX, let me see if I still have any imagery of that in here to show people. But when I made that, one of the components of it, you know, that might have been in the other phone. One of the components of it was a 3D viewfinder. And actually people really loved that about it, because you could see in real time in 3D what you were recording. I guess I must have it in the other phone. But I think if people look up Jason Goodman 3D VX or something like that, you'll see a picture of it. It had a 3D viewfinder. And the thing is, I could never really understand what was so revolutionary about this Oculus Rift. I mean, there were stereoscopic headsets that existed since the late 90s. Now, it's true that Palmer Luckey dramatically expanded the field of view, and I think he reduced the latency of the head tracking, and he did certain kind of like evolutionary things. I don't know if I would say they were revolutionary. Didn't make a lot of sense to me that Mark Zuckerberg bought that thing for $2 billion. I would think somebody like Mark Zuckerberg with $2 billion could have just looked at what he had there and said, well, we're just gonna make that. It's just basically two screens in there. Same kind of gyroscopic stuff you have in an iPhone to know your position and your attitude and orientation and all that. I mean, I don't know, whatever. Let's say he's a genius and he invented all that stuff. He's an idiot with the tweeting. Was he having some drinks? Is he nervous? Does he know that Anduril technology was used in that assassination attempt? And is it bothering him that I'm talking about it? Did they never expect that somebody would identify Rafael Eduardo Castro II, the active U.S. Air Force drone technician who also is employed at that flight services, whatever that thing is called? He seemed surprised. And by the way, he didn't say, Anduril, what? Drone? What the hell are you talking about? I'm a barber. He said, this is a U.S. government phone for official business only. You are not to call it again. That was an interesting thing for him to say. He might get motherfucking sued too. I don't know if I have standing to sue him. He might just be a witness. Yeah, that sounds right. Listen, I could be wrong about all of this. I'm not a lawyer. And I'm not asking for legal advice. I'm just letting people know about things that I'm doing and things that I'm going to do. And by the way, I anticipate that George Webb's mentally ill, wife-swapping paperclip Nazi brother will attempt to interfere with what I'm doing, because that is all that psychotic maniac does. But I don't even care anymore, because I have developed skills and knowledge that allow me to neutralize that impotent moron. And if he attempts to do anything to disrupt this, it's only going to be used against him in other legal action. And I can't stop him yet. I'm trying to get him enjoined from all kinds of things, but that's also difficult. So anyway, I hope that people will join me right after this. Just if you're already a sponsor, go to your selected channel, whether it's Subscribestar or Patreon/Crowdsource the Truth. And if you're not a sponsor, please join me on Odyssey.com/@Crowdsource the Truth. It's only $3 a month. That's the least expensive sponsorship you can select, a discount sponsorship. And that is also a reason why I love Odyssey. I had to personally negotiate with them to get that reduced fee. That is the lowest amount of any kind of paid streaming service that I've ever seen on the internet. And they're really reasonable and wonderful people who have great technical support, a wonderful search engine on there. You can search the largest library of Crowdsource the Truth legacy content anywhere on the internet. You can live chat during the live streams, even during the sponsor exclusives. That's something everybody on every other channel has always asked for. So please visit Odyssey. They've got a new decentralized, censorship-resistant underlying system that they've implemented so well. I didn't even notice when they switched. I think there was like 2 days of a little stuff happening, but that was weeks ago, and it's working really well. So join me and let's dig in and let's see who wants to get motherfucking sued. Thanks for watching.